You're welcome to your magic moon message. The moon is in Sagittarius, Swaggitarius. The sun is swagging. The sun is in Taurus. We're about 4 days away from the epic and final Uranus conjunction that your ass is gonna be making to the sun. So you can be aware how out of the box thinking you will be expressing genius with a natural, grounded, innovative quality as markets all over the world adjust for this next cycle of effery. Whew. Moon will be in Capricorn then, and the moon in Capricorn in a couple of days is going to take this actively adjusting perspective and it's going to apply it cardinally. And you're going to understand a very practical way to not only move forward with this higher perspective, in that the conversion from Sagittarius of higher interpretive, meaningful perspectives into Capricorn of utilizing collective action is going to take this vision. The moon in Sagittarius is going to kinkunks and transform, and then we're going to apply it. We're going to see, okay, now we're seeing how our senses are transforming relative to what we're harvesting, and this transformation of perspective and adjusting our vision we're going to apply with the moon in Capricorn in the direction that we see now we're headed into. So we just finished the moon in Scorpio at the final degrees of Taurus and Scorpio. This peak harvest of pure energy producing a psychoanalytical understanding of our own body language and our own natural values, our worth, the way we stand on our worth, our ability to manifest our actions into form that's tangible. Now the depth of this purity in a social sign like Scorpio that gives you that social contextual understanding of your own individual value post market analysis, moon in Virgo, now is in a universal Sagittarius moon sign. So, nice. So I just remembered something. So with the Sag moon, this ascended understanding, they built new buildings. That's what's up. This used to be in the construction. It's all built now. So the moon in Sagittarius, one, of course, every time the moon or any planets go through a mutable sign, this Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, it actively adjusts your perspective. Similar to going to work every day. Every time you go to work, the environment is going to be slightly changed. Even if you have the same shift, you're seeing the same people, the customers are going to be different. You're gaining experience every time you're going into work. Slowly but surely, that experience is adding to your perspective of how you see where you're at. And that's one way you could look at mutable sign transits. In light of new information that the only thing constant is change. This allows us to adjust our thoughts in Gemini, our behavior in Virgo, the interpretation of these facts in Sag, and then the beliefs that all these three perspectives really align us to go over and do the same goddamn thing all over again. You actually cycle through this various times in just a minute. So in breaking down these astrological transits, we like to, of course, compartmentalize these different facets so that you can get a greater understanding of what is all happening simultaneously. Okay, so the moon in Sagittarius adjusts our vision. Why are we adjusting our vision? Well, relative to the past 2 weeks, we've activated new value. We do this firmware update every year. The only difference between this year is that it's the first of its quality since the 1700s and also the 1800s. What do I mean by that? This is the first Taurus season we have Pluto in Aquarius that's not retrograding back into Capricorn. This is the first Taurus season with Neptune in Aries, which hasn't happened since the 1800s. Pluto in Aquarius hasn't happened since the 1700s. So not only are we updating this yearly cycle of what we're worth, because as you grow older every year, you of course gain new experience. Yesterday's price is today's price. That new experience you gain every year adds to your value. All right. Adds to your self-esteem. You're now approaching the rest of this year with more quality that, I mean, just by you growing older, you stepped into. So the only reason why you will think or believe that you're losing value or you're giving too much power to your external circumstances is because you've not yet accepted your eternal worth. This is not figurative. It's not necessarily like symbolic. It's as real as you breathing. And, you know, if no one's going to understand it, you better, at least before you die, and might as well right now. So with that being said, Pluto's influence or Pluto's transit through Aquarius is now taking this yearly firmware update of our values and our quality, and it is now challenging the supernatural quality of awakening that is extremely strengthening our natural senses in connection to cosmic energies, phenomena that exist outside the physical, phenomena that science, materialist reductionist science will tell you is science fiction. But it doesn't change the fact that you're feeling your telepathic channel open up so much more naturally, which has been happening for a while. But the Taurus season really grounds this into your physiology, your natural five senses, just like you have a grounding cord that grounds excess electricity. That grounds excess electricity in a way that opens up a very unique, I am at a crossroads. What am I going to do? That opens up a very unique and somewhat powerful, once again, element of not just tapping more physically into this. The grounding cord grounds the electricity so that you don't short circuit. All of this is a checkpoint to Leo season, where now the energy we're integrating that we gain from higher intangible metaphysical aspects of ourselves, we will now, through our bioelectric energy, integrate forward towards our talents, our thoughts in Gemini, our feelings in Cancer, our talents and passion in Leo, where we'll be on stage Leo season in August, fully harvesting the supernatural cycle we're going to activate every February and early January over the next 20 years until it starts to go later in the sign, and we'll do that in February. So this is very exciting. Neptune, of course, in Aries is literally dissolving any ego complications that have you separate yourself from the ultimate source, because separation is an illusion. All right. That being said, now that we've activated this new moon cycle, we've integrated it through the moon in Leo, we're harvesting it. Sagittarius is giving you an ascended understanding of how your natural senses are being transformed by your mind's eye ability to interpret what your natural senses pick up. Because the ability for you to see right now is relative to the light refracting off your cornea and then bouncing back. It's an entire illusion. There's no greater liar than light itself. And so we are hallucinating. Everything we're seeing is actually the past, because by the time we can process what's happening, the next moment has happened. And look up on YouTube how your brain hallucinates your conscious reality by Anil Seth. If you type in ANILSETH, Anil Seth, and he did the TED Talk, he really goes into the specifics of that, which is a very amazing marvel of our own human brain. I think no one lies to themselves more than a human being. And I think that's very interesting how we all say we want the truth. But that being said, okay, your brain is processing senses. You have a taste sense, a gustatory sense, a auditory sense. Shout out to my clairaudience, claircognizance. Your visual sense is just the natural Taurian physical process of seeing, but perceiving is magical. It's your mind's eye that takes the input of all this information and you come into an interpretation of what you're perceiving. That's why, scientists are starting to discover in a quantum way that multiple people can see the same experience and see different things that other people didn't see, that weren't there, and each experience might be true to them, adding a more relativity to an absolute truth. That being said, of course, Sagittarius, that represents your mind's eye, the brain interpreting the meaning of what your physical senses are viewing, right? That shows you the difference between a perspective of the mutable versus the fixed quality. The quality of your senses is, do you have 20/20 vision, or is it, a little blurry? So the moon in Sagittarius, relative to these insane evolutions, updates, and activations, are going to be actively transforming the 210-degree angle that the moon in Sag will make to the sun in Taurus, will transform the nature of how unconventionally you sense naturally, because the meaning of what you're interpreting is not only shifting to adjust how you're evolving, but it's going to transform how you are sensing. It's transits like this that have you see deeper, see much more aligned with what you're sensing. This can have you become more clairvoyant than ever and see things that aren't there that were always there. The best. Okay? It's going to align you with more synchronicities. It's not really making anything that wasn't there. It's pretty much aligning more with your subconscious that's always been processing things, and it's aligning more to what you've always seen, you just haven't seen. You know how our brain will edit out stuff so that we're not focused on too much stuff. And of course, what it is you are subconsciously envisioning as far as seeing this expression of your worth and value is very key. Of course, people are very miserable. A lot of people like to fake like they're happy, but project negative things towards other people. As angry as people may be about others, they don't have the courage to face them because they're pussy, they're stupid, they're stupid little bitches. Excuse me if there are any kids watching, but that's your word of the day, SLB. All right, SLB means stupid little bitch, because in this life, some people are just very stupid and as big as they act and high and mighty because they think that they're better than other people. They're really just little inside. And so that's why they have to feel better than other people. That's what makes them insecure. And so the way you might be walking in confidence can intimidate people who know they will never step to you. So they project negative mental projections because they're miserable inside. And as you step more into your worth and value, it's going to rub people off the wrong way, as it should. And you don't have to devolve yourself down on their level by going back and forth. You just stand in your aura and let people be mad, because that's all they'll ever be. They're not going to do anything to you. They're not going to say anything to you that means anything. We know that. We had 2 I told you so tours. They didn't do anything. All right, so with that being said, that is going to transform this quality, and we're going to direct where we take that with the moon in Capricorn. Pluto in Aquarius adds the intensity of the saltiness, and people who just can't manipulate you, people who can't influence you to follow their beliefs. And so they have decided a false sense of your worth that doesn't reflect what you're really worth. And such illusions will not allow them to stand firm. They're standing on shifting stand. And just by you moving strongly, it's going to blow them away. That's Gemini season. That being said, y'all, really take into account this is a harvest. So we did the work already. This is you now coming into the fruits of your labor. You're reaping what you have sown. And all you have to do is just maintain this visualization. Opposite Jupiter and Gemini, it's going to account for the expansion of your mindset. That's also squaring Saturn in Pisces, so that it aligns with your system of beliefs, so that you have proper perspective. All right. And this, of course, trine Venus and Aries will align to show you what authentic direction you're moving in a heartfelt way. That connected to Mars and Leo will sustain the passion that's having you stand for what you really believe in and not back down like a little bitch. You guys stay blessed as always. Very grateful once again for your viewing and support. I love this series. You guys have made it really fun. Comment down below what you're excited to harvest. And until next time, y'all, peace.